Welcome to another episode of Leches Radio, representing 1/3 of the trios, Mr. Rad Soul, Bone here. Gentlemen, rep your set.
Oh yeah, you already know
coming out the gate firing.
It's boom, 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 boom. Yes, that's right. Back in high school, they called me Sad Bone in 8th grade.
What?
But it's lost.
We're getting a whole bio right now.
Oh, but you know what it is? So the God Rhythmatic, what it do?
One word to y'all, man. Shut the
fuck up! Hey. Play me some pimping, man. There you go.
Oh,
pimping.
Oh,
down and dirty.
He prepared.
Mafia.
Oh, wait a minute. Two can play. I think I just have one of these laying around conveniently.
Oh man!
All your local retailers.
We're
promoting and getting no dollars for this right now.
For the love.
Oh man!
So again, welcome back to another episode. As always, we can be found streamed at Amazon Music. We got another one. Oh damn! Where them dollars at?
Where them? Oh.
I don't even know what I was saying.
You about to say tatas?
No, either way. Well, thank you again. As always, you can stream us at Amazon Music and Spotify. I think Apple's giving us a little bit of a hassle. And as always, you can find us at Tres Leches Radio on everything social media. And with that said, we would just jump right into it. We had a Verzuz last night. We had two legendary crews that we all came up on, in our impressionable years. You had Bone, coming out of Cleveland, and then Bone Thugs and Harmony, for those of y'all, maybe a little bit younger, against 3-6 Mafia, representing Memphis, Tennessee. What'd you guys think when it was announced, right? We've spoken about these groups in just different times and just like music that we enjoy, but when it was announced, given their history, right, that they've actually had I'll say like a beef, because even they kind of said in interviews that it wasn't that deep. But when it was announced, how'd you guys feel about it?
Long time coming. Oh, you wanna go?
Whoever.
Yeah. I remember, like you said, long time coming. I remember when when we were still like second phase of COVID, I guess, like early quarantine. Like this is when like we wasn't going outside, and Paul was like already teasing it, and like boom, 3-6 verses in 24 hours. Like that's how quick it was.
Yeah, this was happening like last year, right? Like,
yeah.
Well, remember they were doing outside of Versus though.
Yeah, 7 months ago.
Yeah, they were gonna do it. Yeah, outside of the platform.
Yeah.
And I was suited up for that one. It literally they stopped it to the minute, like, and Paul was like, "Yo, we're not gonna go on." Like I was literally at the crib ready to go. Like I had ran up and probably and one other homie, and but in hindsight, Paul made a good choice business wise, and who's ever in front of Bone's business, because they stayed patient and they waited on it to get a greater viewpoint. But
now they were able to do it like on stage together. Last year, it would have just been like a Zoom call. It would have been like this, like how we're talking to each other right now. It would have been like that, and it would not.
And nobody could fight. Nobody could throw a bottle.
They're just been sending viruses to each other. Open that.
Lizzie probably, I got some hacker friends.
But yeah, you know what? I'm glad you mentioned that. I forgot. Yeah, it was gonna be separate of the Verzuz platform, and the date was coming down to crunch time, and then but I was honestly like pissed off for like a while, because you heard nothing after that. There's like Swiss and Timberland, they said they were getting involved, but then you heard nothing, like, and then all these other verses went up, and then we finally got it yesterday. So,
yeah, and it's funny because even I think Paul, this might have been maybe about 6-8 months ago, because somebody initially asked him, and he's like, man, Swiss messed that up. I think he said Swiss had called him a half hour before, and he's like, now I'm seeing these groups getting verses, like, what about us? He's like, and that kind of sprung the idea of him and Crazy Bone doing that EP that's going to be dropping soon. He's like, we're going to do this for the fans, because like we can't do the verses, but at least we'll get on some, Mafia Bone Thugs.
I'm looking forward to that project. Definitely.
Yeah, I think that's going to be dope, because I said for years that I felt like Bone needed an album with Paul's production, especially if we're talking about like older Bone, East 99 era. I think he could have matched that, of a unique, sound. And we're probably going to get that kind of preview with, with the Crazy Bone Paul John. But when the announcement came, and the, like I initially said, it was like a long time coming. Like this was something I felt like, as far as the Versus platform was concerned, that should have been the first group one, even before like the Dipset lock. So we already were kind of locked into that kind of, given definitely their history. And when you think about Art of War, was literally almost a good chunk of one big diss out 236 and other quote unquote imitators of Bone Sound during that time frame. So a lot of history, just just to see them now actually on stage together.
Yeah. And so what do you guys think of so like tail of the tape, right? They get announced. Obviously they have their overlap, right? But one thing I've always felt was what made both groups popular. Like, I don't think they approach music completely the same way. So even though there's some stylistic, there's some overlap, I think what made Bone and what made 3636 is different. I do think there's enough of a difference there that, a small part of me was just like, and I said it at the end of, I want to say one of the last episodes, that I felt like in a Versus setting, even though I'm more of a Bone person, that the Versus setting would favor 3-6 a little bit because they got club joints. Bone doesn't make club joints. They have anthems, they got bangers, but they don't got like those club joints. And Brandon, you could probably speak to that more than I can, but 3-6 has club joints for like days. You know what I mean? Yeah. So a small part of me actually, wondered, I'm like, is this really the best matchup? Like, this is just me thinking out loud. So I don't know how you felt in terms of an actual matchup when you think about, okay, they're going to go song for song. Do they really line up? Is this really the best matchup aside from the fact that they had beef?
Yeah, I agree. Like sonically, I was like, this might be like left and right, The only thing that really like added up, because it was the beef, and like they had similar styles within the music, like lyrically, like
they're rapping and their content, the stuff that Busy don't want to talk about no more.
Right. Like rest in peace. And honestly, man, rest in peace, because like King's Cooper and Lord Inf were the two ones that had that double time, like sing songy kind of Bone flow. And
they were like spearheading it. They were definitely
that was it. So now when you take them out, they're really different groups. But if we're comparing them in the 90s, they're very similar.
They were the difference makers.
Yeah, so
like in that's what put them a little bit more. Okay.
Yeah. So things change in evolution, you know what I mean, with due time or whatever.
Okay. All right. So you know what?
You just gonna forget me? Oh, wow.
What happened?
I was about to interject.
You weren't saying nothing. Go ahead, speak. I'm not gonna throw a water bottle at you.
I saw you gonna throw it truly. But it's funny because they start off like almost like those distant cousins, like the third or fourth cousins, like you're saying sonically, and as you saw some of the deceased members of 3-6, and then they kind of as you're mentioning branch off. But we're talking like mid 90s, because that's when those comparisons started, and then that's where the beef. But we saw Bone go more of the quote unquote heavenly way, while 3-6 played more of the satanic way, if that's how you were looking at it. But I thought on paper it was just a good idea, just because this is the history and how those early similarities, where I thought was a good matchup. When Paul and Craig thought it on their own, versus Swizz and say, hell, we're gonna do this for the culture now, type deal.
And also, like, something that we said was, what Bone was gonna play, most likely, right? When we think about what's probably gonna be played, right? Like 3-6, especially Juicy J and DJ Paul, they've had more of a second half of a career in terms, like, you knew they could play stuff from the last decade, whereas with Bone, you knew you weren't gonna hear anything from probably the 2010s that was really gonna be like the heavy hitter stuff. So that was another thing. So I felt like, so again, I'm a Bone guy, but I felt like going into this, I'm like, besides what I perceive as differences and what they may play, I felt like in the minds of audiences, 3-6 sound is a little bit more current than Bone, whereas Bone's a little bit more legacy by now, especially because Bone's solo material hasn't done what like Juicy J's has done, and then DJ Paul, he's still getting he's still putting out projects, producing. But didn't he do one a few not too long, like maybe 2 years ago with like I want to say Twister, something like that?
I don't know.
No,
I don't know if it was Twister,
stuff.
but I feel like DJ Paul has done.
But I mean, he did a lot of production for a lot.
No, you know what it is. I'm thinking of an EP.
Mafia.
I'm mixing up a year where they both dropped, but not together. But he's done EPs.
Well, the Mafia 6 projects with him and Boo. Yeah. You know what I mean?
It was A-Rod Myers Juicy pretty much when he did the the Reform 3-6. But yeah.
And now they active, basically. You know, the answer.
Yeah, I feel like they've remained active more. And again, so like. You know, I feel like going into this, it leaned a little bit more in their favor. So what we're here to do is, for anybody who's never watched any of like how we do our versus episodes, we go round by round, give our input. And since there's 3 of us, we pretty much select, you know, we compare song to song and we pick a vote. And of the 3, majority rules. And then we come up with a tally at the end of it. So with that said, round 1. All right. When they came out, it was so like, you know, Bone gets introduced. Then I think 3-6 came out. And then as far as song selection, I think Fat Joe, of course, he had to be there. They flipped the coin. And then
Flo Joe Bone.
3-6 had to go first, I believe. 3-6 goes with Who Run It, and Bone counters with No Surrender. So I'll throw it out to you guys. What were you guys' take on those leadoff choices?
Very solid leadoff choice, even though I thought, you know, that Bo May came out with Thug is Ruggish at the beginning, but No Surrender I thought was definitely a banger, you know, to go against Who Run It. So I think they, you know, did appropriate choices to get that, you know, to get the whole mood, whole field setting, you know, straight.
Thug is Ruggish got to be saved for like the last. I think that's like an A1. I felt like that.
Yeah,
I felt like I knew I wouldn't hear that one until, you know, like later on.
Oh.
So how'd you feel, Brandon? What they coming out with? Oh, my bad. Go ahead.
No, yeah, you good. They didn't do first of the month. They
did not do
first and that's what, and I felt that would have been the one.
There's a place I have noted in here where I feel they could have dropped it in too.
I think there was a lot of stuff that was left on the table, especially on the Bone side more so than 3-6. But Paul had mentioned, and you know, we showed on the group text that they were supposed to technically do 6 more songs.
Yeah.
You know, even though
they lost a little bit of time.
So I feel like I think first of the month was supposed to be in the mix there, but I think there's another element that we'll talk on later that might have, you know, changed course of things as far as placement too.
All right, so Renz, who did you give this round to? Round 1.
I was so torn because like No Surrender speaks for itself, you know, but Who Run It, like that's. I don't think 3-6 could have picked a better track than Who Run It. So, and I and I felt on the performance aspect. I'm also looking at the performance aspect that they just came out the gates performing better with that opening track versus No Surrender. So as much as it pains me,
you went Who Run It.
3-6. I went with Who Run It. It was so close, but I gave a slight edge to Who Run It.
What about you, B-Stacks?
Who Run It, man? Come on, man.
He's got 3-6 like 20-0. Like me, I got Bone 20-0. Go ahead.
I was actually like, oh man, y'all doing this. I thought they was throwing heavy shots early in the game, but they flipped the coin. Both of them wanted to go last, so it reflected on like Bone had the advantage of going last.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Because like
you can counter, you don't got to lead.
Yeah. All 3-6 songs were counters. They were all counters. It was all haymakers. You know what I'm saying? But no Surrender is a jam. But I went Who Run It. I mean, that's one of the top 5 songs.
I was the only one. I watched this more than once. I think it speaks to how much I enjoy Bone. I watched it. I went by energy. I went by live performance. Bone wasn't slacking on this one. What's it called? I would say the only thing I didn't like about Bones was they weren't rapping over instrumentals. So that, you know, like that showed more to me like in round 1. But song for song, I genuinely just preferred No Surrender. There's other 3-6 songs I like over Who Run It. So I went No Surrender, but y'all went 3-6. So round 1 goes to 3-6 Mafia.
And it's funny you mentioned about the performance. See, and I looked at it too. I think, like you said, Bo might have like more energy, but I felt it was a lot of lip syncing on that too. Which
that's why I didn't like the and that's why instrumentals. You know what I mean?
You know, even though there was some 3-6 that had that too, but as far as the opening, why I didn't really hear it like that versus on Bone. I was like, I'm just playing the track, and I just hear, and I kind of factor that in as well.
And it was all members.
Well, I'll be honest, if I played track for track, I would still go No Surrender. But again,
well, I think track for track, but yeah, but like
you know what though? It was all members too on 3-6 song. Maybe that's what they was thinking about, because that was the song where they feature all 4 members of the ones that are living that were able to perform that. Mm-hmm. So that was a nice little introduction. Anyway.
Yeah.
All right. So round 1 goes to 3-6. So round 2, this one, oh man, I think this is gonna be a consensus. 3-6 goes Tear the Club Up. I remember that one that came out. Yeah. And Bone countered with Body Rock, which was I thought was a very questionable choice, to be very honest with you. To me, Tear the Club Up is like an A1 for me, like from 3-6. Like I think you have to really come correct and drop an A1, and Body Rock from Bone is just an album cut from an album I love, but it's just an album cut that is not going to challenge Tear the Club Up. And again, this goes back to my point of Tear the Club Up literally can be played and enjoyed in the club, and the energy to it, I just think it was a stronger track. So I can tell you right now, I gave this one to 3-6 easily.
It was all you. I mean, Body Rock, that was one of the most head scratching songs that they put in their playlist for Verzuz. Like it wasn't a strong cut on Art of War, and this wasn't a strong.
I liked it for Art of War. I don't like it for Verzuz.
Maybe, but yeah, I think
he said maybe. He said I don't like it.
I just don't think this one of their standout cuts. I'm not saying it's a bad track, but I don't think it's a standout. Like when I think of Art of War, I'm not thinking about Body Rock. As hey, this is one of the standout cuts for Bone. I mean, Tear the Club Up. I mean, you're gonna like it. You're talking about Haymaker. This is the second Haymaker already. We're talking about round 2, and Bone had to probably pick one of their most solid hits to even try to compare to Tear the Club, and clearly they did it.
and it goes back to what I'm saying. Like they don't make like Tear the Club Up type songs. That's where I feel again that going into this leans in the favor of 3-6. Just easily, like Bone don't make Tear the Club Ups, Yeah. So and then B-Stacks bring us home on round 2.
Tear the Club Up, easy. Next.
He said, "Body what?" Yeah. All right, so the Tres Leches count 2-0, 3-6. Round 3, 3-6 goes Hit a Motherfucker, and Bone counters with Look Into My Eyes. So,
good round right here. It's a great round right here.
Yeah. So you know what, B-Stacks? Go ahead, right there. I'll let you kick this one off.
Yeah. So first 2 was easy for me. 3-6. This one I was like, like you start really Bone start getting into the gristle of what they do. And
they learned early Body Rock wasn't cutting it.
Yeah, right. I bet you it's like there, and I like how 3-6 was like just not playing games, not wasting time. They're not talking. Boom, let's go, and they just hitting you with what they do. They're not trying to portray anything else. Is what we do. We F the club up, we crunk. You know what I mean? And then you hear that. We thuggish, ruggish, always. Oh,
I bought the single cassette, man.
This is when the bias. I'm a 3-6 fan. This is when the bias got to dip, and this is a better record for me. And it was better live. And yeah, I had Bone on this one.
The crowd went louder for Look Into My Eyes. As much as like the crowd was into this, and I think it was. I like that they did this versus in the West, because you got a Midwest crew, a Southern crew. And chances are they probably got more love in the West. Bone got a lot of love in the West, especially the Eazy-E connection.
Yeah. Listen, that was still home turf for Bone for all intents and purposes. LA.
It was 60. I would say 60-40 Bone crowd. Yeah.
Yeah, but I also went Look Into My Eyes here. I watched this more than once, and the crowd really went like they were word for word. Like just the energy was louder. I mean, I also like Look Into My Eyes as a song better. But even when I saw that the crowd was even responding to it, like they got a round back after dropping the ball in the last round. So 2 of us, that automatically gives it. But Renz, where did you go here?
Trifecta, man. Listen, like this probably has one of the best Wishbone verses ever. I just want to say that because we know how Wishbone could be on certain songs, and as much as I love Bone, but this is probably one of the hardest Wishbone verses. I mean, I was trying to go word for word. Eyes and what you see. I see 5 kids roll niggas wherever I go. I go. That verse is so hard, but
And you know what? Oh, go ahead. My bad. I
I would say this is where I think Bone, as far as placement goes, knew where to kind of start lining their songs. At this point, they fumbled with Body Rock, but this was a very nice comeback with Look Into My Eyes, the kind of even the scales here. So I definitely went Bone on this.
And I also felt like Look Into My Eyes more than just like choruses. Like I felt like they have verses too. Whereas, and Brandon, you could probably counter this. I feel like for me, like Hit a Motherfucker. Now, again, I'm not terribly familiar with it, but I feel like when I watched it again, it was like a little bit more like the chorus was the bread and butter. Whereas in the verses, I'm not saying the verses weren't there, but I feel like Bone's verses and chorus were a little bit stronger throughout the whole song on Look Into My Eyes. Whereas Hit a Motherfucker, I don't know if it's the same balance. I don't know if you feel that way.
It's a more complete record for sure.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. All right.
Yeah, no doubt.
All right. So round 4, like you said, 3-6 ain't playing. They come out with Sipping on Some Scissor. I remember that when that came out when we were in high school. And Bone counters with Buddha Lovers. So Renz, how did you score this one?
Oh man, this was so
tough
so hard.
This was very hard for me too.
And I think a lot of it came down to, and we were messing each other throughout. I the beat switch for one. I did like the beat switch, but like I guess not.
It,
I know I kind of liked it. It kind of grew me, but I think for me, this would have been a perfect opportunity having Bun because to me, I mean, obviously Pimp had his his spot on here, but I think just having at least one of them on here. I think
Bun was the only one that wasn't. Everybody for tonight, except for last night, except for Bun.
Exactly. I felt if Bun was on, if they bought Bun out, I would have probably gave it to him on this run just because off of that alone. But just with having Paul and Juice, what I don't think had the strongest verses on those song on that, and Buddha Lovers, I remember not even really understand what Buddha. I mean, I knew what we were, but now it's talking about different like the adjectives and stuff. Well, not adjectives, synonyms, and. Even though you listen to Sipping on Scissor is a harder track and Blue Love is almost like an R&B, but like that is a vibe there. I mean, you can throw that on the cookout and even old heads gonna be like, all right, I can roll up to this.
One drinking, one's about smoking. I like how they went. You know what I mean? They went for your drug of choice, so to speak.
Yeah. So I gave Buddha Lovers on this one here.
Ooh, B-Stacks, where did you go?
So I had to, I'm good for a tie on this joint, but I had to I had 2 ties on here, and so one I'm gonna choose. This ain't gonna be the one. It's a tie, bro, because Sipping on Some Scissor is universally the better song to me. They switched the beat up. It took me off guard, even though I liked it.
I think Sipping on Some Scissor is just more recognizable because one was a single and one was just an album cut. So I do think Sipping on Some Scissor is a little bit more recognizable to audiences.
Word. And you got UGK on there. I mean, it's just that song speaks for itself. But Buddha Loves is such a good B-side track.
So glad you
know what I mean? So I just went a tie.
I'm gonna break the tie. I went Bone here.
You break it.
Right, like I'm gonna save you.
But I will say, because like I made notes here throughout the night and then I edited them today. I had this as an incredibly close round, and I don't know because I went back and changed some of my votes, like when I was going through it again today, and this might have been the one I might have originally gone 3-6, but like kind of like an asterisk because it was so close. Like me, I don't want to. Like I have no ties. Like I made myself like pick one, even if it killed me. But
I don't want to die, brother. So I went die.
You don't
Listen, I'm voting as we go live because some of these I had going either way, and I'm like, let's want to go with what my gut feels, at the moment.
Yeah, so that's why I like watching it a second time because the dust settles and I feel like I get to watch it really and kind of take it all in more even more the second go around. So all right, round 4 went to Bone, and after Buddha Lovers, this is where Busy Bone tries to fight all of 3-6 Mafia. This is where he loses his mind, and we thought that this was going to be a 4-round versus at this point. I was telling Brandon, I'm like, yo, I was tired, and I'm like thinking, all right, early night, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, but this is when Busy loses his mind. They had the intermission. I think Versus put up a technical difficulties.
We'll be back.
Teddy, they put up their version of the Teddy the image, but when they come back, luckily, so Busy obviously sat a few rounds out. 3-6 comes back with I don't know the proper titles. I just know this joint was Ass and Titties, and Bone.
Yeah, no, that's the title, brother.
That is the title. And yeah, because the chorus ass, titties, ass and titties. And Bone, went with Days of Our Lives. So I'll tell you right now, I immediately went 3-6 here. I mean, I like that they, like I said, 3-6 came back with a joint that men and lesbian women alike could enjoy. Bone slowed it down with a classic joint off the Set It Off soundtrack. This, two different vibes. It depends on which vibe you're going for. But like I said, in a Verzuz setting, I think, they should have matched energies here. Like Bone should have kind of at least stayed in the same BPM ballpark, and they didn't. Like slowing it down wasn't going to pull the audience, or pull it back in their favor. So I think they needed a higher energy joint here. So I gave this the 3-6 over Bone. And I love Days of Our Lives. They just didn't use this in the right slot.
Well, I respectfully disagree, but for different reasons.
Ooh.
For different reasons.
This can's almost done.
Not sonically, because and I blame this on Busy. I strictly blame this on Busy because I bet you this was a song they wanted him to rap on. Because, when they did Days of Our Lives, they just sang the hook in the chorus. So that was it. They didn't do any verses at all. And I feel like this was a song where they might have just wanted to do Busy and crazy verse on there. As the Titties are more of a club banger, but LA crowd, I think Days of Lies would have won that had Busy been there, because I'm assuming they were going to do the last verses for them too, and he just hit the hook to keep it moving.
I think any verse performed doesn't change it because because it's a slow cut.
Sonically, I think on paper, but I think the crowd would have reacted more to Days of Our Lives just because of how big of a hit it was during that time. And especially during that era where like we thought about up-tempo rap song, like they're still doing like that very, very heavy melodic. That's when they were going more melodic, and that was still a banger that they played on radios. And I think hearing it live, I think it would have still gave the edge, even as in Titties are more of a club, anthem.
So where'd you go, B Stacks?
I still went 3-6. My fault.
I thought you said.
No, I think I went 3-6. Yeah. Right. Okay. No. I was saying it had Busy been there, but I think that was when Busy was there.
You said all that to say you chose 3-6,
right? I thought I heard Bone of vote in that.
No. I said all that to say 3-6.
Man, 3-6. Let's go next round.
That's what I'm saying. I think this is a layup to 3-6. I think Bone should have matched energies because they did when they did Days of Our Lives. You know what I mean? So that's where kind of frustrated me. So now we're in round 6. 3-6 goes with I think it's called Riding Spinners.
Yes, sir.
Bone. And then Bone goes with a what's it called? They go with their riding song, so to speak, Bump in the Truck. So go ahead, B-Stack. What were you saying? How did you score this one?
So this was the first feature, I believe. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I did not expect Lil Flip to come through.
Yeah, we were joking about like he's revoked everywhere. Yeah. Here could Lil Flip coming,
Flip came through, and I was a little confused because he came out and then he went all the way to Bone's side. I'm like, yo, you trying to be new? You trying to be Busy Bone? I was a little confused, but Spinners is a crazy record. Remember that when that came out, I was bumping that when it was like on MTV and all of that and BT. So easy one for me, man. That was Spinners 3-6.
Spinners. And I'll just because of the order of the voting here. What's it called? As much as 3-6 had a nice ride out joint here. Like for me, just based on what they have been playing, I don't think this one thumps as hard as some of their other smashes in their deep catalog. And honestly, I think Bone capitalized on that. And when they went bumping the trunk, higher energy, the crowd was into it. For me personally, I think this one just goes a little harder than Riding Spinners. So I gave this one to Bone. So right now it's 1-1. Renz, how'd you score this round?
Sorry, I just want to say that.
What?
But
he's a
Spinners, baby. Spinners.
He's
gonna defend Bone and then say 3-6.
I'm not gonna defend Bone so much.
Right.
I don't think this was a good song to pick. Honestly, you got Spinners. You can't put Bump in the Trunk against Spinners. I don't see it. It wasn't a good track to pick. I'm just gonna leave it that way. I heard Spinners.
You don't think it matches? Why? Because the themes are the same.
Well, the themes are the same, but No, the theme's exactly the same. I just don't think it compared. Like, even though you're saying don't thump, like, but we knew, like, when Low Flip came on, we sort of like skirt, like we were on point with the skirt and everything.
So the
So, like,
feature is what does it for you guys on this one.
Not only feature, but I think, but overall, even if we were just play song, you didn't tell me which one made the radio. You know, they're both for radio singles. I will still go Spinner. I think it's a better produced track. I think it was a better song in general.
Is it because you're a Swiss Beats voice on a bump in the trunk?
Probably didn't help me either.
He said, "I heard Swiss. To hell with you."
You know, because I call it a trash beat. You know what I mean?
Swiss Beats did that. That's
yeah, Swiss Beats.
He either did the beat or he's
or did Timbaland did that beat? Hold on.
No, Timbaland didn't do that beat.
Because
Timbaland has a beat with Bone, but it didn't make it onto that Strength and Loyalty album. But Swiss is on the chorus at the very least to this. So
okay.
I don't know off the top if he also produced it, but his voice is also on it. But okay, so this round, round 6 goes to 3-6, and very fitting.
Yes.
Round 6, 3-6.
Oh,
see it? See what's happening there? So repent. All right, so round 7, we got what's it called? We got oh yeah, this was another head scratcher from Bone from me. Yeah, Where Them Dollars At? Love that joint, even and I love that Gangsta Boo said she wrote this when she was 17. And Bone felt that the money track of choice was Paper Resurrection off the Resurrection album. I can tell you right now, I gave this as a layup to 3-6, and I know that's the Gangsta Boo joint with Where Them Dollars At.
Yo, I actually like this Bone record though.
I like it too.
Yeah, but it doesn't really like Where Them Dollars At is like a essential Memphis strip club.
It's such a bop. Just that chorus alone, man.
Yeah, and it was great that they gave Gangsta some love, so she was able to do her thing. I should say Boo some love. But yeah, I had to go 3-6 too. But I do actually like this Bone song. Like the choice was easy, but this was a round I was like grooving on.
Yeah. I agree. I went also with Where Dollars At because that was a banger. But I like Paper. It just didn't, like you said, it doesn't work here. In this record, I thought it was actually a good Bone comeback song because that was when these started the rumors, with Busy being kind of in and out, and you
this
saw
is when Busy came out and apologized. Yeah, he did.
Yeah.
This was in this round.
Yeah. So, but I'm talking about this track in general because that's when the turmoil, in the group going on.
Mm-hmm.
But so I thought it was a good song. I just couldn't favor Where Them Dollars At though.
Well, also as we see what's happening here is like they got reshuffled here. Like Bone has got to adjust, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
Like they don't know what's going on in real time. Like Busy's coming back on the stage, and the whole show was like about to be just in complete, just canceled disruption.
Yeah.
So you kind of see like Bone is dipping here in these rounds, and I think that some of that had to do with what was going on.
Yeah, I agree. Because like I said, Days of Lies, I feel like they were going to be busy and crazy, and they just hit the hook. And so even if you said it was a better song, I just think I just can't pick that song. You doing a hook, just sort of that simple back over actual verses of a song. You know what I mean?
All right, so the round 7 was a clean sweep to 3-6. Where Them Dollars At over Paper. Busy comes out, he apologizes, and that was a beautiful scene. I'm glad that even if it was just for optics, things
wasn't having it, bro.
Like they didn't retaliate when they easily could have, So and the show went on. So now we go to round 8, and you got 3-6 Popping My Collar versus Bones For the Love of Money. I'll tell you right now, this is another joint with bounce from 3-6. This was the one where like they had some skipping issues on their end from the DJ.
Yeah.
But I like Popping My Collar, but for me this Bone countered beautifully with For the Love of Money. They even brought out Eazy-E's son to do Eazy-E's verse while the crowd was also going along with Eazy-E's verse. They're in LA. To me, this was, I like both, but For the Love of Money, this is one of their A1s, and I gave this one to Bone.
Shout out to Lil Easy. Shout out to Lil Easy. Pop My Collar, definitely a standout cut 3-6, but to me, For the Love of Money was like, there was no, there's not many songs that you can put up against For the Love of Money. to me, a lot of that was because off the strength of Easy, and just having his son who looks a spitting image, mannerisms, just having that verse being rapped, it was almost like Easy was there. You know what I mean? So to me, that was a given that was going to be for the love of money.
Yeah, again, I like how 3-6 approach here. It was they throwing all the punches here. You know what I mean? Pop My Collar, great joint. I thought they was gonna bring out Project Pat on this one.
Yeah.
But didn't. But even if they brought out Project Pat, I think For the Love still gets the win here.
Yeah, clean sweep to Bone in round 8. So now we're getting close to the halfway point. We got round 9. We got 3-6 with side to side and Bone. This is where they activate their first cheat code with Riding Dirty, Chameleonaire, and the Crazy Bone joint. I think they actually got a Grammy off of that. And round 9. So how'd you guys feel about this one? How'd you guys score this one?
Oh man, well, Chameleonaire, who knew Chameleonaire was out here on these streets still?
I know, right? Yeah, well, he's been blowing up in the tech world,
tech industry,
been a businessman.
Yeah.
For the internet out there, let's spend 20 seconds on Chameleonaire. Chameleonaire was a freaking superstar for 1 year. Like, you know what I mean? 2007.
Yeah, him and Paul Wall came up together.
2008. That dude was shining bright, bro. And he took he on himself, took it upon himself to just move on. Like hip hop didn't, or the music industry didn't kick him out. He removed himself. But dude, Riding Dirty, man. I mean, I was reminded of how big this record was. Like Side to Side is my joint, but like Riding Dirty was just so monumental. I had to give it to the cheat code here on Bone.
Yeah, same. Like nothing 3-6 had put out thus far. Even we might, if we even in like the placement, were still seated where they needed to be seated. But Riding Dirty, having Chameleonaire there as well, and just remember how big a song that was. They were using commercials and, and everything.
It's big when Weird Al redoes your song. Weird Al Yankovic.
Yeah. That's when you truly official. You know what I mean? But yeah, I went Bone with the Riding Dirty.
Yeah, I went Bone here as well. This was one that I was actually on the fence about. Like this one wasn't like I didn't hear Riding Dirty and just said, yo, like it was a automatic kill. I was really on the fence with this one. But replayed these clips a couple times, but I think them activating their cheat code, like feature, right? They gave them the round here. So Riding Dirty gets round 9. That the Bone gets round 9. So now we get to round 10, and got Bands of Make 'Em Dance from 3-6. Well, that's really Juicy J's joint, right? Versus and then Bone, Bone goes with their second cheat code is really Lil Jon featuring Crazy Bone with I Don't Give a. So how'd you guys score round 10?
Yo, so I mean, I was waiting. They was going to pull out Bands in round 7, but Juicy was like, my bad. And then they did.
I wanted to see the lap dance. No one got a lap dance, man. They had the girl there, like shit.
I was like, whoa, they played, boy, about to hop on the stage.
Well, this was my second tie, but I'm gonna pick here because Bands.
Don't want to upset Busy Bone.
Don't want to upset Busy. I don't want that. I don't want that drama, man. That man willing to fight as Millionaire. Risk it all.
Oh, man.
But Bands is that's a monumental joint. I mean, you do throw that out. Not a lot of records are going to move that.
And that's less than 10 years old too, man.
Yes,
that's you see what I'm saying?
That was pretty much Juicy's reintroduction, for the younger generation.
Speaks a lot. And Juicy J got the opportunity to really flex his muscles here because he's been an MVP for a long time, man. But I got that East Side with me. I don't give a damn, bro. Like. That's just it's a cheat code, right? It's a cheat code.
It's 100% cheat code.
So I gotta go with Lil Jon with the feature of Lazy.
Wow. Yeah. I was gonna say I thought you were gonna go Bands. Where'd you go?
I thought you were gonna go Bands. So you did it. You did what I did earlier. Give you all that long explanation.
Yeah, I had to do it, bro. That Lil Jon it hit hard. It hit crazy.
Yeah, the Little John, that was a shocking one. I didn't think he would be out there. But mine is Meth Head Wayne.
This is where they brought out Little Weezy.
Yeah, I would have gave it to Juicy. This was Juicy without, because that Lil Wayne thing didn't add anything for me as far as where I lean. Yeah. I just felt like when bands came out, granted, when the Lil Jon, the Crazy Bone Assist, that was a banger. But like I said, it was a reintroduction to Juicy. Like Bone, they were kind of fading out. They were still kind of there versus you didn't know what 3 6 was doing because all you knew they broke up and then boom, Juicy just reinvents himself. When bands make them dance, like
out of nowhere,
he would tell a gang that he was Wiz, and like he's a major player again.
Yeah, he was dropping
at that time with Bone, like that didn't elevate to me. And I'm also looking, did they elevate Bone with Lil Jon? Not really. But Juicy coming out, then Juicy is on everybody's, hitting the features, he in the mixtape circuit again. He really lived his, his second stretch.
Yeah, he got his second win.
Second win. So on paper, I think like how we would look at some of these songs on paper, I think Lil Jon, Crazy Mode was a better song. But I just think the momentum and the effects, I had to give it to Juicy on that one.
You went bands, yeah. So
bands.
I will say I this was
another
one.
The Bone people with the
Mafia. Yeah, this was another one. I'll tell you what, I like that strategically. I like that Bone knew when you notice it's their cheat codes that has the more club joints, because like I said, Bone got big, but it wasn't because they made club joints. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So they knew they had well-timed features, which like that I don't give a. I remember that was like during Little Jon's like mid 2000s run.
Yeah.
So I don't even blame you for going with that one. I will say what's it called? There's definitely crunk joints I liked from the crunk era. I just genuinely prefer Bands Make a Dance as a whole record. Much like you, Renz, like Lil Wayne never did anything for me. I do know that from a performance perspective, crowd went nuts when he came out, but just record for record, sure. I went Bands here. So it's 2 for 3 6. So round 10 goes to 3
so after 10, we got 6-4. That's why I see him tally so far. 6-4.
I like
3-6.
I like 6-4 only because like when I was on Twitter and stuff, people had it as like, yo, like 10-0, and I'm like, nah. I was just like,
people had Bone to me going like, away with it.
Yeah. Oh no. From what I saw, people were saying 3-6 ran away with it, and I'm like,
but I did see some people, but yeah.
Well, see, I was on the Verzuz YouTube, so it's a lot of different threads.
Yeah.
All right, so now we get into the second half, and this is where your boy came out. Project Pat came out. I didn't know the first half of that song. He's saying he's like gang shit, and then he goes into Chicken Head.
That's on the Drake. So that's the Drake feature.
Oh, the knife talk joint.
Yeah. With 21 Savage, and the original is Pat got an actual verse, but on the Drake album is that's the hook. That's
the knife talk joint. Yeah. So, but the main song, I mean, I know that was like his intro, and the main song here was Chicken Head, and then Bone countered with Thuggish Ruggish Bone, which was brutal in my opinion. I'm gonna just save you guys like I went Bone here easily. Thuggish Ruggish Bone. I like Chicken Head. I remember when I was in high school, it was definitely it's a classic clucker anthem, but Thuggish Ruggish Bone there's not many songs beating that for me. And I think what's it called? 3 6 could have had other songs that would have competed better with Thuggish Ruggish Bone. And again, I know this is a Project Pat, this is a feature, but they went with this one. I just wholeheartedly I couldn't put Chicken Head above Thuggish Ruggish Bone in a Verzuz setting. Could not do it.
Yeah, I think that they utilized Pat wrong here. You know what I mean?
Okay.
I would have brought him out with the Pop My Collar remix or side to side, you know what I mean? Like they could choose, like he got or a rougher cut.
Sipping on Scissor.
Yeah.
Iconic hook.
Exactly. Yeah, they could have brought him out for that. But so y'all didn't bring this up yet. So 3 6, they got away with using the TV tracks up until this point. And this is where I feel like it started to harm them. Project Pat came out not rapping his song. And so this is where it started to become a little evident, like, now you're just doing voiceovers. And it just didn't come through. Like I was excited to see Project Pat like everybody else and Lil Chat. Shout out to Lil Chat.
Lil Chat,
Yeah, Memphis.
Yeah.
But even if Bone would have did a lesser song here, at this point, Bone was actually like vocalizing their stuff. They were on the mic, rapping, singing.
Yeah, I think they corrected that because I don't know that they did the like what's it called? There was the tracks the whole time. I felt like I heard Bone more versus the actual track.
This is when it started to change. Like
you definitely start hearing it more. It was kind of like here and there, but later around you started it kind of a little bit more evident.
And they brought out Shatasha, right? What's her name? Was Shatasha Williams? Like she actually her mic was a little low, but she was singing the like lazy. Like they actually brought her out.
Yeah. So I think when 3 6 started to skip Pop My Collar round, they had that little hiccup, and I think they went with TV tracks, and so I'm just
speculating,
But Project just came out just like he wasn't rapping, so it just was like it felt flat. So bone for this one.
I looked at it, that because it definitely came out flat, and I look at it also too. Even though when we think of 3 6, we think of Project Pat being 3 6, but technically not. It's more of a Philly. There's more. We're talking about Hypnotized Mind as a super group, as the collective. So I just looked at this like, almost like when Fat Joe brought out Nelly and Nelly did How to Hear. Like, this is not a Fat Joe song. This is Nelly just doing his thing. I felt like that with Project Pat, even if the verses were, even if he was rapping along with it.
They could have brought him out and then just kept him on stage for
like
a song.
Had he come out like or even be out there at the beginning, I wouldn't have felt that way because I'm already looking like he's part of the entity. Versus now, we have a special guest, Project Pat. Right. So even like I said, to me, that wasn't 3 6. That wasn't a 3 6 song. That's a Project Pat song. Versus you already heard him Simple Scissor, you already heard him Pop My Collar, Side to Side. Now you go and sing. You already going to consider that 3 6. Just like
you wouldn't. And how many groups do you know where they can have a whole another artist and you're like, oh he's in 3 6.
Yeah, exactly. So this all that
they missed out on a huge advantage that they had with Project Pat.
So between the flat and then not bringing them out earlier. Yeah. And then he left after that. So he wasn't even really, you know what I mean? And that's kind of weird given especially the relationship. Yeah, that's Juicy's cousin too. So
brother. That's his brother.
Oh, that's his brother. I thought it was cousin. Okay.
That's his brother.
Even worse now. Even worse. So
that just drives my point home. Like
so Stuck in Rex Bone came out, they brought out Natasha, like that was all of you. That's the Steph Curry right there. You don't even you could start turning around. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that was just a massive one. All right, so round 11 goes to Bone. So now we get to round 12. 3 6 is doing a zip and a double cup, and Bone does Butt Smokers On. So this is not like Bone's second Smokers anthem. I'll be honest, man. So this is Club Jam number 600 from 3 6 Mafia.
Yeah, getting tired of this shit.
Yeah, encouraging smoking and drinking because why not? It's real hip hop, guys. I felt Bone when I heard Zip and the Double Cup. I'll be honest, I felt Bone could counter this, and not only did they counter it, they came through with Butt Smokers Only. I know that was an official single, but that was a slamming album cut from the East 1999 album. And honestly, I just preferred Butt Smokers Only here. I think Bone has a very great track record with weed songs throughout their career, even on solo projects. And for me, Butt Smokers Only was a continuation of that. I like that they counted again, Zip and the Double Cup versus Butt Smokers Only. I went Butt Smokers Only here.
Same. It was a double cup, and I think we'll see this trending too. In the later rounds, they started relying heavily more on Juicy.
Yeah.
At this point. And that to me kind of factored in some of my choices as well. It's still 3 6, but now it's like this is strictly that's Juicy stuff without little to no involvement of the 3 6. And like I said, Butt Smoker Only be cut, but it was a standout cut, East 99 Eternal cut that if we think of the album, we're thinking of that, at least within the top 5 songs. So I definitely went with Butt Smokers Only on this.
How'd you feel about this one, B Stacks? I mean, I know we got it scored Bone, but how'd you score this one?
Yeah, trifecta here, man. I went Bone.
Oh, okay. Nice.
Yeah. This was a good record. I mean, Zip and Double Cup. I mean, I'm in tune to Juicy's whole career. Every 3-6 Mafia artist career, I pretty much was like on pace for their releases. The Zip and Double Cup is a banging jam, but for Smokers Only is they don't align to me, and I think it's just a better joint at this time in Verzuz.
Yeah.
Only. All right, so round 12 goes to
So we
Bone.
got tie. So we got tie now 6-6.
Nice. Uh-oh.
Triple
2 sixes, one more 6.
Oh,
Busy
wait.
Bone's gonna appear on all our screens.
Like, you ugly motherfucker.
He goes, hey man, did you repent?
Did you denounce Satan?
He's gonna come up, ironically, round 13, another evil number. Was a bad luck number, I believe. So you got 3-6. They pull out a big guns with the International Players Anthem. And you know what? I got confused for a second because I know the video version of International Players Anthem. Well, I know I think DJ Paul produced this, but the video version is UGK Outcast. But I think the remix has 3-6, if I'm not mistaken.
Well, that's a funny story. So it's a remix technically, but the original version was a UGK Outcast. Sony, for whatever reason, didn't clear 3-6 because they thought they were going to overexpose them. Outkast wasn't even in the picture for the original international play, which would end up being a blessing in disguise, obviously now,
Right?
Because I don't think you have it as being an iconic song, but like the original version was supposed to be that, and then the remix is just adding, their verses. But Outkast was never in the picture for this song ever. Had Sony not blocked
a blessing in disguise.
We never heard. To a lot of people, probably one of the best intro verses of all time.
Yeah, the Andre doing it with just not even the drums haven't even dropped or nothing like that. We got your back like chiropractic. I love that opener.
Yo, I said that to grandma arguing with her one day. Like, don't you know I got your back like chiropractic? And she's like, what? I'm like 3 stacks. Okay. She's like, get out of here.
She was. I was gonna say, but what I like about this round is right that's heavy artillery song, right? We knew it was gonna come in the second half. Yeah. Bone, knowing they're in LA, they pull out their collabo with Tupac.
Thug Love.
They go Thug Love here. So how'd you guys score this one?
Listen, on paper they're close, but in reality it's not, because we know international players for what it was, which was Outkast and UGK. Regardless that 3-6 produced it, the reason why it's an iconic song is because of 3 stack. I think everybody came correct, but it's really the 3 stack. So they're doing them versus didn't really do anything for me because people know it for the other.
I barely know it for I know it for them too. Like you said, Outkast, UGK,
Yes, and Thug Love wasn't released, but we already knew what it was, a banger. And this was around the time when even Pac was gone, but the East Coast, West Coast beat. Let's know the fact that Bone was able to do a track with Biggie and Pac in that same time frame. And given not only that, but the history with, Ruthless and Death Row, with the fallout and everything else. So the fact that they had Pac on a Bone track.
Thug Love's Art of War, yeah.
Yeah, but I'm saying Ruthless Records and Death Row was what I'm saying, because of Easy and Dre. The fact that they were able to get Pac, a Death Row artist, on a Bone track, to me right there, I had to go with that. The momentum, the everything, the vibe, because international players. No, I was thinking about that version with 3-6.
So also you went Thug Love. You're saying, right?
I went Thug Love. Yeah.
Yeah, I went Thug Love here as well. West Coast. The crowd was they let Pac's verse go. It went halfway. Again, it's funny. I almost said cheat code, but this is actually Bone's song featuring Pac. So it was not a cheat code, but it was wise because, again, like you said, they were able to get an actual Pac collabo while he was still alive. And you know what? And I'll say this, and I'll get a lot of crap for this. I like International Players Anthem, but I never loved it. I like it, but I don't love it. But I know like the conversation around it, meaning the UGK, the Outkast version, I know it's loved. People love it. It's classic. It's a song I like. I don't love it, but there's nothing about it I dislike, if that makes any sense.
No, I know you're saying,
it works for me. I know why. I just think there's other joints from both crews that I like better. But I went Thug Love here as well. B-Stacks, where'd you go with this one? I mean, I know Renzo and I went Bone here, but
same. I Choose You was amazing. Willie Hutch, if y'all for the people listening, for our listeners.
Yeah, you put me onto the sample, Brandon. I remember that.
Yeah, Willie Hutch, greatest hits, basically. Check his a lot of 3-6. 60% of these samples is from Willie Hutch. So check that out. Yeah, great jam, but Thug Love that came out in real time. Like that's a real time Tupac song. Like had him, like he was in the studio for that one. Amazing record. Busy got busy on that one. Pun intended.
Yeah, they let him rock out his verse on that. He was like, "Busy, where you at? Where you at?" Brandon, is this where you said after he did his verse, Lazy just pushed him all the way over to the other side?
He grabbed him like,
like, let's push him to the other side. Just make sure you don't know.
Right. Leave me the good, leave me the he's all right, brother. But yeah, Thug Love, yo. Monster record, yo.
Nice. Yeah, so round 13, clean sweep for Bone. So now we're going to round 14. This is 3-6 going Crunk Ain't Dead and Bones East 1999. God damn. Anyway, go ahead, guys. Anyone of y'all.
I didn't even know this dude, Don't Deuce. So I had to look him up because so I was confused at real time. I thought they just got a young Memphis guy to rap.
Yeah, that's what I thought too.
Because that's an old 3-6 Mafia beat.
Yeah, exactly.
It's called Break the Law. They did a joint called Break the Law. And I'm like, okay. And then he did the crunchy walking. So he doing Memphis steps.
Oh stuff. Yeah, Memphis walk. Yeah.
So I had to like literally pause the verses and look up this dude. I'm like, oh, this is actual song. So shout out to my man Deuce from Memphis. I mess with that guy. You know what I mean? I got a new song for my workout routine. I pump that in the gym.
That was banging.
But you lose this round 3-6.
We're gonna start answering like Renzo. But so who'd you go for? Well, the other guy. Well, of course.
Yeah. I mean, come on, man. Like,
think about back in the day when the year was 89. Oh my God.
Yeah. East 99 is one of those.
That's one of their A1s, man. That's their
bro.
Top shelf.
Hard to beat. Bone
yeah, record. What's it called? Like I said, I appreciate certain Crunk records, but I like one thing. I feel like with Bone song selection, it was a reminder to me that they really had their own sound. Crunk has a signature sound, right? So it's always going to sound within a certain type of way. And what helped me pick this was East 9, like nothing sounded like East 1999. You know, Bone in their prime with DJ Unique. You know, they said, we got our DJ Unique. DJ Unique gave them their best sound. Nobody sounded like them. And I can't put a Crunk record over East 1999, me personally. Renz, I don't know, how'd you score this?
You know, I didn't like the verses it was picked for East 99. I think we talked about that. But another hard verse, though. And I think you can't really deny East 99. That was such a hard track after the intro. And it just gave the whole feel for that album, you know, in general. So yeah, I went East 99.
Nice
clean sweep for Bone, East 99. Now it's getting interesting because
Bone got three straight here.
So
and I genuinely felt like they picked it up in the second half, and now you got round 15. Now we're in the last 5, right? So this is gonna be like, thinking about it, right, as it's live, you're thinking this is gonna be like all like A1s from both sides. So 3-6. I think they activate their Wiz Khalifa cheat code with I don't know if it's a Wiz Khalifa song, I think, or if it's just a feature.
Juicy, yeah. I don't know. Either way, it's a gang.
It was on both of their albums.
Okay.
Yeah.
And Bone activated the Notorious Thugs cheat code. I don't have a 300-word essay. Nothing's beating Notorious Thugs. Renzo, I saw some really bad takes on Notorious Thugs today. You know what conversation we had on the side.
Yeah.
And you know what? Just to add to that, over the years, Renz, and I feel like you've heard this, but Brandon, maybe you've heard this. I've heard people say that they don't listen to Notorious Thugs after Biggie's verse, and I think that makes people. I think that makes people sound foolish. Like, to me, that doesn't make you sound like, oh, like you really invested yourself and peeped the song. Like, if you only listening to the song of Biggie's verse and he's trying to keep up with them, and he did a very good job at it. I love Biggie's verse. I always thought it was silly when people said that, and I still think it is. Notorious Thugs, that was my choice. Nothing's beating Notorious Thugs.
Dude, on that note, they let Biggie go first so people could hear him and not cut off the rest of the record. How about that?
Yeah.
Like, let's get for real. Like, I mean, all perspective to Christopher Wallace, but that was an offering. You know what I mean? Like, we respect you. We're gonna let you head the record. You know what I'm saying? And we're gonna clean it up. So if anybody knows hip hop, it's an honor to go third and fourth, clean up.
Last is like the most coveted position, and this is on Biggie's album, right? Like he should be going last, right? But so, the structure of the song, him going first, he kicked it off.
And it right. So you know what I mean. So that you know, that's just what you said, Ray. Just to clean up that disrespectful gibberish. But yeah, Notorious Thugs here, man. You know, this is the juicy. Like they leaning on Juice right now. To me, this is where they could have went like old school, like, you know. And I know it wasn't a home crowd here, but they could have went like Dirty 3-6 stuff, like more Infamous, I guess. And this is where they sacrifice. This is when they lose because like some of the members aren't here no more. Mm-hmm. So like, you know, they just kind of use Jay because he's like the star here at this point. But yeah, Notorious Thugs, bro.
All I gotta say, big my partner to Martin, baby. We ain't marching, we shooting. Like
they let Busy do his verse.
Yeah, Busy to me always had the hardest verse on that song, and I give he really go crazy. Like I love Biggie's verse, but I think the reason we can recite Biggie's verse because he was still rapping slow enough that we can follow along. Like he upped it, but I never saw it as a true double time flow. It was that
he added more bounce to his flow to complement their style.
Compliment it, yeah. But I mean, Biggie came hard, obviously.
Yeah.
But like when I remember hearing Busy's verse, I'm like,
and Busy's voice too. His voice complemented it too.
It complimented because he went a little higher pitch, so he kind of accented that beat. You know,
the one who became a man.
Yeah. So
positions off in the clan.
And that was a 3-6 diss on this verse too. So,
yeah, and you know what? And he chose his moment. Like he goes 666 rival. Like he kind of moved away from the mic to kind of not emphasize that part. And he doesn't say he doesn't go bitch. He actually didn't say
like, he left it.
They dissed 3-6 on For the Love of the Money too, though.
They dissed 3-6 on I want to say I Look Into My Eyes.
Yeah, there's a couple.
But my shit called his shit original. Like
the 666 Thug.
They also had beef with Crucial Conflict too. So I know Crucial Conflict.
Yeah, but I mean, but everybody everybody was lumped in. But the Art of War was coming at Larry Art of War. They were coming at everybody who they felt that stole their flow, quote unquote. You know what I mean?
Well, before we move on, Notorious Thugs, I'll put a bow on this. That song is like we're gonna whoop your ass so bad. We're gonna let the best rapper go first.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And then we're gonna just go kill you.
and you know, I like everyone's verse on that. Honestly, no one has a weak verse. I don't know what the story was, but Wish missed the golden opportunity. But
apparently he went out and didn't come back in time. And he was the one that organized the song because he was the one that was cool with Biggie from the group. You know what I mean? Biggie had dropped a relationship with Wish. You know what I mean? He didn't have really a relationship with like Lazy Crazy, though. It was Wish. And Wish then fumble.
I bet he wishes he didn't miss that level. You know what I'm saying? Like, but you know what? I've always liked that. That's an excellent cut. Everybody came and Lazy closes it out perfectly. So Notorious Thug. Yeah, round 15. That was a clean sweep for Bone. That was just one of those that I don't think they were gonna have anything to counter with. But what I like about this next round is this round 16. 3-6 comes through to like keep the energy going. They come through with Stay Fly. I was waiting for this one. Stay Fly is a smash, and Bone went Mo Murder here.
Yo, the opposite of track from this one, but crazy round.
What? Oh, say that again.
I said the opposite track as far as the sonically, but this was a crazy round to judge.
Yeah, this one, and I messaged you guys. I was like, this is B-Stacks, go ahead. How'd you score this?
Nope.
He said nope.
It was 2 atomic bombs here. Well, Bones got like a couple atomic bombs. 3-6 got like 1 atomic bomb, in my opinion, in the Stay Fly. And they brought every freaking body out on this damn song. I was like, yo, I didn't think he was gonna see Young Buck. I didn't
expect Young Buck. And 8-Ball MJG were pumped,
yo, Ball and G. And I said it to y'all in the comments before we did the episode. I was like, yo, this is, like Notorious Thugs is one of those nuclear records for Bone. But I was like, yo, like the only thing they could probably do, and it was after the round, is Stay Fly. And they so much credit. They got everybody that was on this song to be on the stage. No dice, bro. No mas. Like
no mas.
Like
He's like, I say that to say Mo Murder.
No, not this time. Not this time. Big Ben is not guilty.
But so you clearly went 3-6 here. Yeah,
absolutely, bro.
Yeah. But you
got goosebumps when this came on, y'all.
I did the same. You know what it really came down to, and Brandon's 100% right. This was a nuclear, but I thought Mo Murder was a nuclear as far as B-sides. But it really came down to me on a performance aspect that they did the whole song. Mo Murder, you needed a whole song. You can't just do a verse and a half. Had they played all Mo Murder, I might have gave the slight edge. But given that they had, and like I said, I wasn't expecting Young Buck. And even when Young Buck came out, whatever. But the fact that he bought Ball and G, that was over the top for me. I'm like, they got Ball and G here. Like, Buck needs money, but we already know about Buck's money. Ball and G are cool. They're like, we're coming out because
they ain't need to come out there.
You know what I mean? They ain't need to come out. No. And like you had the full song versus 2 verses on Mo Murder, and I'm like, I can't give as much as I want to give it to Bo for that. I can't do it because you didn't. That's one of the songs where they should have did a complete song for, and they didn't. So I went with State Fly on this.
Yeah, I went 3-6. This was one that I had to come back to. I think I left it blank because I love Mo Murder's an album cut that I love like if it was a top single, you know what I mean? Like,
that's one of my favorite tracks of all time.
Yeah, I love it. And Lazy I love that Lazy did his verse because he has my favorite verse on that song. I think he killed it. But Ren's exact same reason. It was the live aspect, the performance aspect of Stay Fly. I like Stay Fly is an A1 for me. They took it with the performance. This round went to 3-6.
Crazy production too on that song.
Yeah.
Such underrated producers, 3-6. Like we always talk about, and I think it's part of our East Coast bias. We'll talk about the Primos,
all the time,
Rocks, and stuff, even like Neptunes and Timberland, but like 3-6. And the thing is, okay, we can listen to a Primo, say, okay, that's a Primo beat, or or Neptune, Timberland. Like 3-6 was so diverse. Depending on what era you're listening to, you can't tell the difference because people are mimicking them in different eras. To me, those genres piece of crunk, but to me, 3-6 kind of predated that crunk sound, even predated the trap sound.
Migos,
like, so when you hear the different eras of 3-6 during the verse, a lot of this was their own production. Yeah. Their own production.
No doubt.
All right. So with that said, round 17. This was another head scratcher for me from Bone. This is 3-6 went hard out here for a pimp, man. They brought out freaking Terrence Howard, man, who's a Cleveland native. And Bone
the ultimate betrayal.
Yeah, and then Bone went Friday here, which was a head scratcher because that was off of Next Friday's soundtrack. Yeah. And again,
it's almost like trying to match soundtrack versus soundtrack.
Yeah, and that was Lazy's tie-in to it. He said, "Yeah, we did soundtracks too." I love Friday as a song by itself. I don't think it was the right counter for Hard Out Here for a Pimp. And again, the special guest appearance by Mr. Terrence Howard, Maine. I gave this one to 3-6, man.
Here's a clear example where this would have been a round they should have played Days of Our Lives. If you're talking about soundtrack for soundtrack, you know what I mean? This would have been a perfect time, and I think that they would have had a fighting chance. But Hard Out Here for a Pimp, I went with the Oscar award-winning track here, but I think Days of Our Lives that had a place here could have been a different discussion.
I might have gone first of the month here.
That too, but for first of the month, probably should have been the first song now. December 2nd.
First of the month. It was day after, but first of the month is like for me that's one of their A1s. I think that's a second half, unless you want to set the tone early. You want to blast off in the beginning.
Setter, like Brandon said in the beginning. I think that they should have. There was no reason why they should not start with first of the month.
They might have did that if this was on the first and not the second. That would have
It doesn't even matter, guys. Like this happened on December 2nd.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
It could have just been like, hey,
any round.
What day was it yesterday? I don't know. December 1st.
He said, I don't know.
First of the month? Like, easy.
I don't know.
I'm gonna miss everybody. But we're gonna do
yesterday was yesterday. Yesterday's price is not today's price. All right. Yeah. First of the month. I know sometimes they got to shuffle around and stuff like that. I have that like on the same level as like a Thuggish Ruggish Bone. It's like it's one of the heavy hitter joints.
That was the first, single videos.
They just left it out the whole verses, which be fun.
That was the biggest head scratcher of all. Let alone, like I said, we should, me and Brian at least thought it should have been the first track, but not even playing it.
But
Body Rock. So play Body Rock.
Yeah, seriously.
I got no words.
So 3-6 for me though on this one.
Yeah, so then round 17, I think this is a clean sweep here. We just hard out here for a pimp beats Friday really easily. And then, back to them leaning on Juicy J. Round 18 is Dark Horse, which is the Katy Perry joint featuring Juicy J. And I love that Bone saved this one for this. It was almost like they had planned this one out.
Yeah.
They counter with Breakdown, which was their collab with Mariah Carey, who, their collabo with Mariah Carey in the 90s. I actually like both songs, but I gave this one to Breakdown easily for me.
I did the same. And it's funny because some of the comments talking about, well, they didn't bring out Mariah. I'm like, well, you ain't bring out Katy Perry.
Katy Perry. What the
so and to me, like,
see that goalpost moving? I can't stand it.
Yeah, like shit, not that Juicy didn't enhance that song, but to me, that's one of them songs you're not gonna be thinking about in 20 years. Like we still thinking about Breakdown. That was 98. You know what I mean? And that was just little maybe 8 bars each from between Wish and Crazy. And to me, that was a more impactful song, especially with Mariah, because that was when she started messing with hip hop more.
Yeah,
Dark Horse. That's when she started leaning. Yeah, you know what I mean.
Dark Horse ain't going to be around for the next 10 years.
Even though Juicy J made sure he told everybody it's a double diamond record.
Yeah,
but,
exactly.
But yeah, Breakdown. You know what's interesting, Renz? On the actual I don't know if it's Bone's greatest hits or whatever, but like their verses are longer. Yeah,
and Lazy's on there. So,
yep.
You know what I mean? Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Pac said, "Keep your head up." Yeah.
I'll give Jay credit though for and it's similar to what Red and Meth did when they sold a whole bunch of slew of records in Hollywood. They allowed it to come to them. They didn't come to it.
Yeah.
Like Juicy J still remained himself. Memphis, Down Home, Blues, Barbecue. Just original for what they do. So good for Juicy for that look and getting that success. But Breakdown is just that's another atomic bomb for Bone.
I actually had forgotten about it for a little bit, and until I heard, I was like, oh shit, I forgot about that. It was beautifully timed.
They got, to me, Bone got like 3 or 4 of them like atomic bomb records.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
one of them.
Yeah. So round 18, that one goes to Bone. Breakdown beats Dark Horse. So now we're in round 19, just 2 rounds left. This was the other head scratcher from Bone. 3-6 goes Half on a Sack here. Bone goes Weed Song here. And honestly, Bone has other I would have preferred Blaze It or even Smoking Buddha. You know what I'm saying? Like Bone used their best weed songs already. I just don't think Weed Song. I get it. Like they went Half on a Sack. Let's go with a Weed Song here. I don't think Weed Song was it here. I went through.
They could use First of Mafia too.
Yeah, you could use First of the
Month. You could use First of the Month, and it's funny. When I'm hearing it live, and I had to go back to reassess, because I did play some of this stuff back live. I was leaning toward Weed Song, but then I was thinking again, but this is not even you for the same reason you're mentioning. And Half on a Sack, there are better cuts they could have picked in this round than the Weed Song, especially with a lot of people probably wasn't even familiar with that song for one. From
I feel like
from Resurrection album
this round, man. Honestly.
Yeah,
I got the Bone, I got the Ren's original Bone tape with me too. I got to show some love outside.
Oh, snap!
That's my handwriting, sloppy as can be.
They could have played Thugs Cry, Play a Hater. All Good is my jam.
Yeah,
it's so G-double-O-D good.
POD original, Coming to Serve You. You know what I'm saying?
Yo, what about the joint that Crazy did with Jermaine Dupri and the Brat? Don't you hate on me? Why don't you go and get you some? That could have went somewhere in here.
Yeah.
That could replace Body Rock
at some point, because Thugs Cry was such a big hit, and I didn't
represent the planet.
Yeah,
he had a good sack for me though.
Half on a Sack, you went here.
Yeah, same.
This was a clean sweep. Yeah. I like Weed Song, in a certain, but this wasn't round 19 material.
Yeah, it was so flat of a track to counter with too. Even though it was same topic, but there's a flat track overall, compared to Half on a Sack.
Yeah. All right, so the final round we kind of saw coming, right? It was 3-6 is Slob on My Knob, and Bone goes
Banger.
obviously goes Crossroads here. So these are like, this is missile versus missile. This is the art of war right here.
Yeah.
So how did you gentlemen score this round?
Man.
And listen, I won't say it. Any other round, Slobbing your knob wins. I'll put it that way. I don't think you can go against the Crossroads with Slobbing that, depending
Can't
on
disrespect Uncle Charles.
But any other round, I would say Slobbing your knob. But like, I can't. Yeah, I miss Uncle Charles too much to go against the Crossroads.
So you went Bone here?
I went Bone.
Where'd you go, B-Stacks?
As crazy as this sounds, I wasn't even thinking about Slob My Knob. Like, I wasn't thinking about that record. You know what I mean? Like, they got a lot of deep cuts, that people really don't. And maybe people do know these songs, but I was like, oh yeah, they didn't. Oh yeah, this record exists. But I agree with Renz, the Crossroads. This is where, like, you got to get out the club sometimes. You know what I mean? Like, 3-6 is a one-dimensional group. I love 3-6 to death. One of my favorite groups of all time. They're one-dimensional.
They're very good at it too. Like,
and they're very great at it. They're great. Like, they're better than some three-dimensional groups. Because they can't manage the other two speeds. If y'all feel me. But Bone is a two-dimensional group, and this is where they can go in that other lane. You know what I mean? They hit you where your heart is and your spirit, your mind.
Yeah.
And Uncle Charles, man, can't go against Uncle Charles.
Miss my Uncle Charles, y'all. He should be gone home from an angel who was wrong.
I went Crossroads here, like much like Bren's Slob on My Knob would have won a bunch of other rounds. Crossroads transcends. Like, I like how you said it, B-Stacks. You got to get out the club. Everybody likes a good knob slobbing, but the Crossroads affects everyone. And what's it called? The Crossroads is deeper, man. You got something that transcends that, because everyone can relate to loss. They had the screen behind them where you saw pictures of like DMX, Nipsey, the rest in peace to Young Dolph, who recently lost his life.
Lord Infamous.
Lord Infamous. Yeah. They shouted him out. The Crossroads is a transcendent record, and again, one may be a club banger, but there's some things just supersede that. And to me, this was a no-brainer. Crossroads to Bone. All three of us go Bone here, so the final round went to Bone. So Renz, what's the tally? I think that's 11 to Bone.
That's what I'm trying to double check the count. So we had 20 songs in total, or was it 19?
No, it was 20. So 20? I have 11 Bone, which would mean 9 went to. It's 11-9 Bone. I'm gonna say that sounds about right.
I mean, because
I've been filling in my Excel spreadsheet here because corporate America.
I think I miscounted something, but based on my number discrepancy, that would make sense. 11-9 in favor of Bone. And listen, you had 3-6 recite some of the lyrics of Crossroads. That should tell you right there. Like, I saw Paul, saying some of this stuff here, and throughout the course. So to me, that just says enough. But like, I think it was a clear example overall where had 3-6 pick, and granted, Bone could have maybe won this even a little bit more, but given what 3-6 was known for, there were certain tracks, and then I think that, between them not using Project Pat the right way, where you can now consider 3-6 versus I quote him now, he's just a quote unquote guest, and lean a little bit too much on Juicy. I think you have to get this to Bone. They say true to the guns and mostly their own material for the most part. Outside maybe a couple here and there that might have been crazy solos. At that point, because then you're not now Gangsta Boo. Remember, Gangsta Boo left the group, so you saw that in the later rounds where she really had no interjection because she wasn't a part of those records. And then Crunch, because at one point it was Paul and Juice.
Yeah.
And I think you see that more in the later rounds versus the early. Granted, you can say about Flesh, being pretty much in their prime years, but I think it was more evident on 3-6's side, especially when we're talking about Lord Infamous, King Kuba, and some of the more prominent members who were who had passed away, unfortunately, at this point.
And I like this scoring 11-9. I would have been fine 11-9 regardless of the winner, because what I thought was very far-fetched was people were saying, yo, like it's 18-2 or 19-1, 3-6, and I'm like, I'm like, but are y'all even? But you just kind of wonder, like, are y'all just 3-6 fans? You know what I'm saying? And again, I think what helps the social media part of it is that the 3-6 side of it, they're more current than Bone. So I think that helped them. But I'm like, yo, for like people who really listen, like when I was watching this a second time, first off, when I went through it the first time, I'm like, I don't think this is the landslide that people are making it out. In the beginning, it was like there was a little bit of, oh shit. And then when I watched it again today, I'm like, this ain't the landslide that people thought it was. If you're really judging it like, if you're really, removing yourself from it and just judging it for what it is, 11-9 to me is the score that I wanted. That's the score that I wanted because I thought they both brought it.
Yeah, I would agree. And you saw, like, I think in live reaction, if I felt like, not saying it was a landslide, I can see why a lot of people pulling for 3-6, but I think when you look at a more unbiased approach and look at the significance, history, and everything else, you have to still side with Bone. This, I think for the most part, obviously, but very close battle.
Yeah, a lot of people were doing like a knee-jerk response, and honestly, the most vocal people I saw that were that were in favor of 3-6 in social media were never Bone fans. So it's just kind of like, well, no shit, you know what I mean? You're gonna say that, you know what I mean? I love the 11-9 score because I would have been happy with it either or. I think it was that close. Yeah. So that's it's interesting. Oh no, go ahead, B-Stacks.
Yeah, that's funny because I got on here tonight thinking that it was gonna be a 3-6, like losing. Because I went to bed after like midnight, but even when I was like currently watching,
did you make it past ass and titties? Yeah. That's what my sister said. She fell asleep. She said, I fell asleep to ass and titties. Like,
well, yeah. And I watched it. I watched the rest in the morning, and I'm like, yeah, this is mad close, yo. Like, I almost had Bone like went in it. You know what I mean? So it's interesting. Like, I wasn't on the trajectory of the internet. Like, I literally, I did the
internet's very knee jerk. Like,
yeah. I only did the little Verzuz poll in the beginning on YouTube. And it was like 59% Bone at that time, actually.
Oh, I didn't even see that. Wow.
Yeah. And I couldn't really argue with that at the time.
Yeah.
But of course, I agree with 3-6 Mafia winning because they are one of the greatest groups of all time. Goddamn.
Well, you know what? And I'm gonna say this, and then this will be the closing thought. Would you say that both Bone and 3-6 are they top 10 groups all time, no matter where you place them? Are they top 10 all time, or is only one? Do you think top 10? Like, do you think in the grand conversation?
So for me, 3-6 is my favorite, but I will put Bone ahead of 3-6 in the pantheon of hip hop groups because I feel like they just. I was outside, as the kids say now, you know what I'm saying? Because y'all was inside, kids. Sorry, kids. Coronavirus. But I remember how important Bone Thugs and Harmony was in the dynamic. There was such a dynamic group. And not that 3-6 was as well, but I would put Bone ahead of them as far as like the pantheon of like groups. If we selected 10, you know what I mean? I'm gonna put Bone ahead of 3-6 in that 10.
Yeah, same. But I think it's interesting note though. So because I can understand why somebody might put 3-6 in top 10, but I think if you factor in what 3-6 has done outside of this their own group as far as sonically, as far as culturally speaking, as far as production. Now, granted, I feel like a lot of the rappers today owe a lot to Bone and 3-6.
Both of them.
Silent. But
Bone for the rapping and them for like production.
Yep.
Like,
well, even with the rapping, because like I said, if we tie in more.
But does 3-6 have the melodic stuff?
That's what I'm saying. K. Cooper, Lord Infamous did. They
did. Okay.
That's what I'm saying. If you factor them in, that's why a lot of people, especially in early time, put them together as sort of similar. Like Juicy and Paul weren't really doing that. Mm-hmm. That was more on their.
And now they're the more vocal ones, and you don't hear that part. Their production is so fire.
Yeah. So
honestly, not to cut you off, friends. If I was like Jay, I see why Jay went solo, yo, because it's like after a while, it's like, yo, like you come from this cloth of like it's like 6 to 80 y'all, and it's like you got multiple. So they had an album called Mystic Styles, and that name was so perfect because it was Mystic Styles. But that evaporated, and all right, and then you just like, okay, we're just gonna soldier up, and we're gonna make music, and 5 becomes 4, 4 becomes 3, and then 3 becomes 2. And I get it. Like Paul's more like, I'm gonna just
it's survivalist,
survivalist, and I get why Jay left for creative differences, because it is a different group. It's not the same. If you know, for the fans out there, for the listeners, if you track the original 3 6 Mafia albums, they align very close to Bone Thugs Harmony style. They really do. Like Jay stands out because he has that kind of same style that he has now, and Paul's like a scream and yell, but everyone else is like double time, like speed rapping. You know what I mean? So like they align very close, and the group changed a lot. So yeah. Just to add more of what you're saying, Renz.
No, and I agree, and that was the whole point. Because you look, that's where not later years they morphed to something else where you see Juice like, this is not quote unquote, let's say, 3 6 style anymore. This is more something else. That's more my cloth, but not necessarily the rest of you guys. But you can't really deny their influence of the game. Like I said, I think they're obvious to me the innovative crunk sound as well as trap, and they were able to, move with the times better than Bone in that respect. Sonic.
Yeah, they were able to extend longer.
Where I think Bone would suffer more.
I said crunk and trap. What do you get when you put them together?
Nah,
I'm just playing. I'm playing. Nah, I got much respect for them.
Yeah.
But you know what? This was otherwise a good Verzuz that we thought was gonna get cut short. It didn't. It went the distance. I'm glad it got to finish. I'm very satisfied with our episode and how we scored it. And you guys tell us what you think. We always appreciate like the comments. Let us know what our scoring. Did you think somebody was 20-0? Did you did you have it different? Let us know what you think. Otherwise, I really enjoyed this one. So Tres Leches out, unless y'all got something to say.
Yo, shout out to Andrew and Kate. I didn't forget y'all. I made sure Bo was going to win, but I forgot by his approach, of course. But shout out to Katie and Drew. Much love.
All right, gentlemen. This was dope. Catch you on the next one. Peace.
Peace.